Heartwarming 30-day journey. Poor Maid exposes hidden truth about Billionaire'S wife's food. Emily stood at the grand entrance of the Whitman mansion, her heart pounding against her ribs like a wild bird desperate to escape. The scent of freshly polished marble filled the air, but it did little to drown the cacophony of thoughts racing through her mind. What was she doing here? A single mother from Crestwood, landing a job as a maid for one of the wealthiest couples in the country. She felt out of place, a fish flopping its way onto dry land, and yet, she needed this job. For Lily's dance classes, for rent, for groceries, a million little things that made up the precarious dance of survival. Every day, she left her small apartment, Lily's laughter echoing in her ears, and entered a world of unimaginable luxury. Tom Whitman was a billionaire, ruthless and sharp, with a gaze that could pierce steel. His wife, Jessica, was everything Emily hoped to never be, hauntingly beautiful, wrapped in designer clothes, yet chillingly distant. It was no surprise that Emily's heart sank each time she witnessed Jessica flash her perfect smile during high society gatherings, masking the loneliness roiling beneath. As the days turned into weeks, unease twisted in Emily's stomach every time she laid the opulent table for extravagant dinners, not for the entrees but for what lay behind the scenes. Struggling to get by, families around her community relied on the very food Jessica served, sourced from the local food bank. The painful irony gnawed at Emily's insides. Each meticulously designed plate felt like a slap to the face. She worked tirelessly, often forego her own meals just to meet ends in her own life, and here was privilege resplendently turning charity into spectacle. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. One evening, amidst the bustling laughter at a charity gala, Mr. Harris, a beloved veteran who had dedicated his life to serving Crestwood, collapsed on the showy carpets. The room fell silent, music retreating into an eerie stillness. All eyes turned to Emily as she rushed to help, heart hammering. She could feel the weight of a community's suffering ballooning around her. Witnessing the shock in the crowd, the worried whispers, and the struggle for breath echoed deeper than just the absence of that vibrant man. It was the very fragility of life laid bare, highlighting just how out of touch wealth had become. With thoughts swirling like storm clouds in her heart, Emily stood at a crossroads. For the first time, she felt the flames of courage ignite within her. She could stay silent and protect her job, or she could speak up and expose the hypocrisy that was suffocating her community. As the annual potluck approached, the tension was palpable. The sight of crimson barbecue sauces and laughter-filled air sent tremors through her. This was her moment to act, to challenge the polished facade of Jessica's world. Standing before her neighbors, her pulse quickened. All eyes were on her, waiting for a single word. Would she finally shed light on the darkness? Would she shatter the silence that bound them, uniting their voices against the facade? The question hung thick, and with one deep breath, Emily's future teetered precariously on the edge of revelation. Emily's voice trembled as she stood before the gathered faces of her community. The familiar warmth she always felt in the company of her neighbors was now laced with disbelief and uncertainty. It was one thing to talk about the things that mattered in hushed tones over coffee, but to stand here now, in a sea of judgment and expectation, was something entirely different. She took a calming breath, feeling the air fill her lungs, grounding her. This was her moment, the moment she had rehearsed 1,000 times in her mind while scrubbing floors or folding laundry in the Whitman mansion. Emily clenched her fists, feeling the pulse of something powerful swirling inside her. It wasn't anger, nor was it fear, it was the deep-rooted strength of a mother worried for her child, a neighbor witnessing her friend's struggles. "Mr. Harris," she started, her voice catching, but then her resolve tightened, and she pressed on. "Mr. Harris is not just a veteran. He is a father, a husband, someone who dedicated his life to protect our freedoms while we sat here enjoying a banquet made of our own community's food. It's time we had an honest conversation about what is really happening here. The crowd shifted, whispers passing like a falling wind. Emily could see the doubt flicker in the eyes of her friends, mixed with a flicker of admiration. Slowly, a nod of agreement came from Mrs. Jenkins, who had known Emily since she was a little girl. Emily clung to that support like a life raft. Tonight, we celebrate, but we do it on the backs of so many who don't have enough. We wear nice clothes, we eat gourmet meals, and we smile, but it's all built on a lie. The air grew electric around her. We need to lift each other up instead of hiding behind facades that only serve to keep us divided. Feeling the heat rising within her, Emily plunged ahead. Jessica Whitman, she may seem untouchable. But isn't it time to ask her about the food we're serving? Each plate is a story, the stories of our hunger, our struggles. Let us not brush those away. In that moment, Emily saw faces light up with understanding, her neighbors whispering in encouragement. The same household names known for their status and power suddenly felt small when directly confronted with the truth. A ripple of disbelief swept through the crowd as they turned their collective gaze toward the entrance, where Jessica stood. The light from the chandeliers cast fractured shadows across Jessica's face, revealing an expression that was a mix of surprise and something colder defensiveness. "What is going on here?" she asked, her voice clear but sharp, slicing through the tension in the air. Emily's pulse quickened. This was her turning point, this was the confrontation she hadn't anticipated. Would she stand her ground or back off? It felt like the stakes had risen in an instant. "I think it's time we talk," she began, feeling those around her lean closer, their breaths suspended. What would happen next? Would Emily find the courage she needed? Would Jessica respond with contempt or perhaps a hidden vulnerability? As the weight of the moment settled like a thick fog, Emily could only hope she was ready for the truth that lay ahead. Jessica's eyes narrowed, a mixture of surprise and disdain etched across her features. The flickering candlelight caught the glint of her jewelry, casting a harsh spotlight on her expensive taste. Emily took a step forward, emboldened by the murmurs of agreement swelling from the crowd behind her. "You have so much power, Jessica," Emily said, her voice steadying. "You have the ability to make a real difference in this community. I'm asking you to use that power, not just to serve us a meal, but to serve our hearts, to feed us the truth." The silence hung heavy, a tangible weight pressing down on all of them. Emily could feel the eyes of her neighbors boring into her, some filled with admiration, others with concern. She held her breath for a moment, waiting for Jessica's response. Jessica's lips pursed, and the air crackled with tension. "And what would you know about what I do?" The sharpness in her tone sliced through Emily, but she refused to back down. "Far more than you think," Emily replied, drawing strength from the warmth of the community surrounding her. "You know, I may not have the wealth or the status you do, but I know what it means to struggle. I know what hunger looks like in the eyes of the people you claim to care for." She gestured around, her heart racing as she addressed not just Jessica but everyone present. "We are tired of being unheard." There was a flicker of disbelief on Jessica's face, but Emily's words pulsed like a drum in the stillness, crowding out thoughts of status and privilege. Mrs. Jenkins, with her silver hair framing her earnest face, stepped forward and added, "We used to have community dinners, the kind we all pitched in to prepare together. Where we shared not just our food, but our lives. We've lost that connection." Suddenly, voices began to rise, echoing Emily's fervor. "Yeah. If food is the heart of this community, let it come from us," called out another woman, thumping her palm against the wooden table, giving a passionate nod toward Emily. As the crowd rallied, Emily could see Jessica begin to waver. The defensive mask slipped, revealing a glimmer of uncertainty. People were no longer simply looking at her, they were looking through her, the cracks in her facade exposed and laid bare. "Rattled," Jessica barked back, "And what do you propose? That we turn this banquet into another potluck? We have to maintain a standard. But at what cost?" Emily shot back, her heart racing. Is preserving your superficial standard more important than ensuring every child in this town goes to bed with a full belly? Or that our veterans feel honored instead of neglected? Jessica faltered, taken aback by the rawness of Emily's words. You don't understand what's at stake. I understand more than you think, Emily interrupted, her voice rising with urgency. I see the struggles of the community, the faces glossed over while we eat gourmet. It's not just food, it's our dignity. It's our right. The crowd erupted into applause, their collective resolve ringing loud and clear. Emily's eyes sparkled with determination as she turned back to Jessica. We need you to choose a different path. One where we all lift each other up. Will you stand with us? Jessica's face contorted with conflicting emotions, pain flickering through her expression as the echoes of the community's hopes crashed against her walls of privilege. It was a moment ripe with possibility. But then, just as the air felt electric with hope, she held up a hand, stalling what seemed like a moment of vulnerability. I'll think about it. With that, the spark of connection flickered out, leaving the crowd hanging somewhere between hope and uncertainty. Emily's heart raced with questions. Had she lost her chance? Or had a door just cracked open, allowing for change that went beyond one conversation? As the night wore on, she found herself wrestling with what had just transpired. What exactly would it take to push Jessica beyond her privilege into action? Would the community unite, or would this moment slip away into echoes of wishful thinking? The gathering dispersed, and Emily's eyes darted back to Jessica, who was lost in the crowd. Tomorrow would bring a new challenge, but tonight had shifted something fundamental. There was a fire ignited, a desire for more, a desire for unity and real conversation, but could they maintain that momentum? What might tomorrow reveal in their fight for change? Emily could only hope that the battle for their truths was just beginning. The sun broke through the misty dawn, casting a hopeful glow on the sleepy town. Emily woke with a renewed sense of purpose. She had stirred something last night, something alive and undeniable. Her heart raced, she couldn't shake the feeling that change was possible. Today, she would rally the community again. As the day rolled on, Emily made her way to the diner, a favorite gathering place where the aroma of fresh coffee and pancakes always brought people together. It was here she planned to lay the groundwork for today's mission. She ducked through the door, the bell above jingling softly, causing the few early risers to glance up. "Morning, Emily," called out Mark, the grizzled diner owner, waving a grease-stained apron as he flipped a pancake. "What's got you in such a tizzy?" "Change, Mark. I'm ready to push for real change." Emily smiled at him, her spirit infectious. She gathered her thoughts, laying out her plan to reintroduce community dinners and highlight local struggles, including a feeding program for children and the elderly. Mark listened, nodding, while other customers leaned closer, intrigued by her enthusiasm. "That's a great idea," he said finally, slapping a plate of pancakes down in front of her. "Let us spread the word. We could use your fire around here." Before long, word began to spread, drawing in neighbors from across the streets. Each familiar face added their own stories: the single father who fought in silence to keep his boys fed, the widow who fought against the loneliness, the veterans who found it hard to share their truths. As more gathered, the momentum swelled, lifting Emily's spirits higher, but thoughts of Jessica nagged at her. What if Jessica did nothing? What if her reluctance to change the status quo eclipsed all of this good? Emily couldn't ignore the concern. The meeting would be pivotal, and she needed to emphasize that it wasn't just about dinner, it was about healing. She glanced at the clock above the diner. It was nearly time for her to head back for the meeting at the community hall. Her stomach fluttered with anticipation and anxiety. What would she say to Jessica if she showed up? What arguments could shift a wall so steep and fortified? As dusk settled in, a sense of anticipation filled the air. The hall was packed, and energy crackled in the tight space. Voices layered over each other, mixing hope and skepticism. Emily stood at the front, her heart pounding as she scanned the audience. Then, there she was, Jessica, stepping through the door, her presence commanding attention. The whispers hushed, and 1,000 eyes fell on her, waiting. Jessica looked around, searching for something, or perhaps someone. But Emily stood ready, a heartbeat away from confronting the very essence of their conversation from the night before. "Thank you all for being here," Emily began, her voice steady despite the butterflies fluttering wildly in her stomach. "Tonight is about us, our community, our stories, our future." Jessica shifted nervously, but her eyes were fierce as they met Emily's. "Jessica, we want you to see this," Emily continued, "that there's strength in our unity. Change happens when we allow ourselves to be seen, to be heard." The crowd shared murmurs of agreement, tension rising as it surrounded them like an electric pulse. As this pivotal moment unfolded, Jessica raised her hand, her expression unreadable. "I've listened," she said, her voice surprisingly calm. "But I need help understanding what I can do." Emily's breath hitched, caught between excitement and disbelief. Could this be the break she sought? Would Jessica finally grasp the power of her influence? The possibility hung in the air, thick with potential. Emily took a step closer, eyes bright with determination. "Let us talk about how we can make a real difference together." But what would Jessica say next? Would she embrace the call for unity, or would her hesitance reignite the divide? The answer lingered in the charged atmosphere, waiting for a spark. Emily locked eyes with Jessica, the weight of the moment hanging thick between them. The crowd leaned in, breaths held in unison. Jessica's gaze flickered for a moment, as if she was searching for the right words amid the swirl of anticipation and uncertainty. "What I can do?" Jessica echoed softly, pulling the spotlight onto herself. "I've been caught up in my own life, struggling to keep things as they are, to hold my little world together." She paused, a flicker of vulnerability crossing her face. "But maybe it's time to realize that holding on isn't enough. Maybe I need to let go, and join you." A wave of emotion surged through the audience, a blend of empathy and hope. The transformation happening right before their eyes was palpable. Emily's heart soared, the cracks in Jessica's armor were starting to show, allowing for something new and beautiful to emerge. "Together," Emily said with fervor, "we can create a space that welcomes everyone. We've all faced our battles, but we don't have to do it alone." Jessica took a breath, courage building. "I know people look to me for strength, but I've spent too long thinking I had to be an island. I refuse to let pride keep me from the community that craves connection. It's time for me to show up, for all of us." The crowd erupted in applause, a good mix of cheers and laughter mingling in the air. Emily beamed, her spirit bolstered by Jessica's newfound determination. It was happening, the shift she had longed for was within reach. As the clamor faded, Emily caught Jessica's eye again, this time, there was clarity. "Let us start by bringing those community dinners back. We can focus on sharing resources, sharing meals, sharing lives," she suggested, her voice rising with excitement. "Dinner is just our first step," Jessica added, her smile breaking through. "Imagine stories shared, laughter filling the air, children playing. We could foster a network. Everyone needs support." Emily nodded vigorously, the vision of their plans swimming vividly in her mind. The energy in the room shifted, every person feeling like a vital part of what was suddenly possible. Ideas flew back and forth, fundraisers, mentorship programs, and volunteering opportunities taking shape that night. The passion crystallized into something they could all grasp. As the meeting continued, ideas poured out, voices overlapping in enthusiasm. But Emily sensed a deeper wake, bare truths spilled into the space, holding them together in a web of shared struggles and aspirations. There was healing in sight, but just as the excitement reached a crescendo, a loud crash echoed from the back of the hall. The crowd turned, a large, framed photograph of the town's founder, an emblem of their shared history, had fallen to the ground, shattering glass everywhere. The joyous atmosphere turned discordant, but Emily's heart raced, not just from fear for the meeting's aftermath but from a stirring dread deep inside. What did the break symbolize? Had they just disrupted something fragile that needed protection? And why did Jessica's expression suddenly darken as she looked at the mess? Behind the newfound promise lay questions still unanswered. What had they unleashed? Now the room was charged not just with excitement, but anxiety lingered in the corners. Emily's thoughts raced. Could this be an omen, a foreshadowing of things to come? Or a challenge to confront? As the gathered crowd began to murmur in confusion and concern, Emily couldn't help but wonder, was their fragile unity strong enough to withstand whatever storms lay ahead? The murmurs in the crowd grew louder, a tide of unease washing over the room. Faces turned from celebrating the potential of unity to concern about what the shattered glass represented. Emily felt the heat of anxiety prickling at her skin. "We need to stay focused," she called out, urgency tightening her voice as she held up her hands, trying to restore calm. "Let us not lose sight of why we're here. We've all been through so much already, we can't let this moment derail us." Jessica's brow furrowed. "Emily's right. We can't let fear define us." Her voice trembled, yet she pushed through, her determination shimmering through her vulnerability. "This is a chance for us to come together, even more than before. If there is tension, let us not shy away from it. Let us face it head on." People began to rally around her words, the air thick with a mix of trepidation and resolve. They clung to Jessica's strength, finding solace in the call to confront the chaos instead of running from it. Emily felt the energy shift. The crowd was still worried, yet there was hope crackling like electricity. As they all began to talk again, some even teasing out jokes to ease the weight, Jessica quietly moved towards the mess. As she knelt to pick up the shards, Emily followed her. "Are you okay?" she asked, concern lacing her voice. "I thought that photo was a reflection of our town's strength," Jessica said, her voice low. "But it feels like it just fell at the perfect moment to remind us nothing is as solid as it seems, not even our unity. We have to confront our fears or we'll just be picking up pieces forever." The sentiment struck Emily deeply. Maybe it shows us we're ready to let go of the old image. What if we take this as a sign for something new? We can create our own story, one that's not just about history but about healing and hope. Jessica's eyes brightened as if a weight had lifted. "Yes. Let us turn this into a metaphor for what we're building together. We can reconstruct our community on trust and understanding, not just expectations." Emily stepped back to look at the rest of the group. Some nodded, others murmured in agreement. The crowd's mood was transforming. Community members were moving closer to the front, more willing to share their stories, their fears, and hopes. As they leaned in, voices became stronger, words more courageous. It started with someone sharing their struggle with unemployment, then another spoke about loneliness amidst a crowd. One by one, people unveiled their challenges, and with every story shared, the audience was knitting a tighter bond. The room, once filled with anxiety, became a sanctuary of shared experience. Together, they faced their struggles, hands reaching out in solidarity. Laughter mixed with tears as vulnerability cracked open the floodgate of connection. Emily felt a warmth spread through her. They were indeed stronger together, more resilient. The competition to be perfect was melting away, replaced with a tender realization of their collective strength. But just as the warmth blossomed into something beautiful, a man from the back stood up, his expression somber. "What happens when the past doesn't stay buried?" The question hung heavily, a reminder that not everyone was willing to embrace change. Emily felt her heart skip. The air in the room shifted, filled with uncertainty once more. Could they confront what lay ahead, or would old shadows loom larger than their new hopes? As Jessica glanced once more at the shattered glass, they both knew they had a long journey ahead. What would emerge from the rubble? Would it be unity or division? And how would their community respond to the uncharted path before them? The atmosphere in the room was thick, heavy with anticipation and questions. Emily's heart raced as she tried to gather her thoughts, to keep the momentum of unity alive. But the man's question echoed in her mind like a drumbeat. "Let us not forget," Emily said, her voice steady yet soft, "the past has shaped us, but it doesn't have to define our future. We have a choice to move forward." She locked eyes with the man, whose name she couldn't remember, but whose worry was palpable. what do you fear most when you think of the past? The crowd fell silent, each person holding their breath, waiting for his response. After a moment that felt stretched by tension, he spoke. It's the secrets, the things we've hidden. They haunt us, keep us from truly moving on. Emily nodded, sensing the collective tension solidifying in the room. Jessica stepped closer to the man, offering encouragement through her unwavering gaze. You're not alone in that fear. We've all got things we carry. But talking about them, sharing those burdens, can break that hold on us. A woman from the side piped up, her voice shaking. My husband lost his job last year because of secrecy in the company. We were blindsided when they made cuts, and we've been struggling to stay afloat ever since. She wiped away a tear, only to have it quickly replaced. I've wanted to scream about it, but who would listen? It felt useless. Your voice matters. Jessica exclaimed. This is the time. If we wish to rid ourselves of the shadows, we have to drag them into the light together. A few others joined in, sharing pieces of their stories: lost jobs, broken relationships, dreams that had crumbled like the glass on the floor. Each revelation added weight to the shared experience, pressing them down yet somehow lifting their spirits in collective catharsis. As the stories flowed, the atmosphere shifted. It was as though the energy in the room had transformed into something tangible, something warm and electric, weaving through every heart like a live wire. They were no longer small individuals shrouded in anguish, but a vibrant tapestry of human experience, each thread colorful and unique yet essential to the whole. Emily took a step back and surveyed the scene. People were laughing now, their shared pain transformed into a quiet solidarity. They were all there, juggling hopes and fears, willing to bridge divides that had festered for too long. She smiled, the warmth blooming inside her, filling her with hope, and yet, the man's earlier words lingered in her mind. The shadows didn't just represent their fears, they also housed old grievances and unresolved conflicts that could easily resurface. What if we try something? Emily suddenly declared, gripping the edge of the podium. Let us create a space right here, right now, where we can openly express our doubts and misconceptions. Each of us will make a commitment to listen and be heard. It's the first step toward real unity. A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. Some looked uncertain, but curiosity sparked in their eyes. In that moment of togetherness, there was a palpable change, a decision to confront the complexities head-on. Just as the willingness to go deeper started to take root, the doors to the community center swung open with a loud bang, drawing everyone's attention. The sudden entry of another figure, silhouetted against the light, interrupted their burgeoning moment of connection. What is happening here? The newcomer demanded, their voice sharp and authoritative. The wave of tension crested once again, rushing through the crowd. Emily's heart sank. Was this intervention about to derail everything they had built in those precious moments? As puzzled looks shifted between the group and the intruder, Emily felt the stirrings of fear ripple through her once more. Could they truly stand united against whatever was about to unfold? She held her breath, waiting for the confrontation that loomed ahead. The newcomer stepped fully into the room, revealing a stern face framed by a sharp haircut. Dressed in a dark suit that screamed authority, they swept their gaze across the gathering, eyes narrowing as though searching for any sign of insurrection. Emily felt her heart race. The inviting ambience of shared vulnerability began to be punctured by a sense of impending doom. Who are you? Someone shouted from the back, a brave voice breaking through the thick atmosphere. A ripple of murmurs followed that scattered through the crowd like leaves in the wind. I'm here on behalf of the city council, the intruder responded coldly, and I need to know what is going on in this place. Are you all stirring up trouble? Emily could feel the tightness in her chest, the weight of her own fate entwined with this community's. They had just begun to feel a sense of safety, a shared intent to bridge the gaps. No trouble, she managed to reply, her voice surprisingly steady. Just conversation. We're trying to connect, to heal. Connect. The council member interrupted, their tone sharp enough to cut through the air. You think you can fix all your problems in a little chat? The skepticism lingered in the air, thick with doubt. Emily glanced around, searching for support. Jessica stepped forward, her chin raised defiantly. Yes, we believe conversation is the first step. We're sharing truths and listening to one another. This isn't a therapy session. The council member barked, impatiently pacing in front of the crowd. People like you don't understand the realities at play. You can't just talk your way out of economic despair or broken families. The crowd flinched at the harshness of the words. Emily sensed the crumbling of their newly found unity, goosebumps prickling her skin. But there was also a simmer of defiance bubbling beneath the fear. As much as the council member's words sank in, they also ignited a spark. Maybe you're right, Emily said, gathering strength. But we have to start somewhere. You may not think this is helpful, but we believe that sharing our struggles is a way to uplift each other. It's not just talk, it's about building connections and showing each other that we're not alone. Alone? The council member scoffed. You think bringing your grievances to light will change anything? Where's your evidence? Where's your plan? Emily's brows knitted together. Her heart pounded in her chest as she took a step forward, placing her hands on the podium as if grounding herself. Plans begin with conversation. Look at us. We are all here because we want to change things, and if you would take a moment to listen instead of judging us, you might see the real power of community. The tension hovered in the air, crackling like static. The council member's eyebrow twitched, caught in an internal battle. The authenticity in Emily's words seemed to momentarily thaw the icy exterior they wore, and Emily sensed a shift. For a heartbeat, silence draped over the room. Then, one person from the back, emboldened, called out. We're more than our problems. We have dreams and intentions. We're fighting for our families. One voice became two, and soon the crowd erupted with statements of strength and hope. Emily felt the power of their shared determination. The council members shifted their weight back and forth, clearly not prepared for such a display. Was this the moment they could break through? Emily held her breath, scanning faces lit with determination. But just as momentum reached its peak, the council member's frown deepened. Look, they finally said, their voice lowering. If you really want my attention, you'll need to show me more than just words. Prove that you're a community worth listening to. Emily's heart sank. Was unity truly just a ticket for their voices? What could they do to bring about that tangible proof? And just as she opened her mouth to respond, a loud crash echoed from somewhere outside, drawing everyone's attention. A cacophony of shouts followed. A realization dawned on her, the real confrontation may not just be inside this room. Is that the sound of a protest? Someone whispered, eyes wide with fear and curiosity. The question hung in the air, heavy with anticipation. What was about to unfold outside, and how would it affect their struggle within? The crowd shifted uneasily as Emily took a step back from the podium, her mind racing. Was this how it would all fall apart? She cast her gaze toward the window, where the repeated sound of pounding feet and indignant voices grew louder. What's happening out there? Jessica asked, worry creasing her brow. Emily forced herself to stay composed. I don't know, but whatever it is, it seems serious. She could hear the weight of uncertainty in her own voice. The council member's stern expression softened slightly, perhaps the noise outside was breaking through their facade. We need to know what's going on, they said, their voice more cooperative now. Let us go see, someone suggested, a man named Mark, who seemed just as concerned as the rest. A wave of agreement rippled through the crowd, and they moved toward the door. Emily's heart raced. This was it. The outside world was crashing in. They surged into the street, the smell of rain mingling with the scent of determination in the air. The scene was chaotic, a mix of people holding signs, shouting slogans that demanded change, and others recording on their phones. The sight of so many gathered with purpose ignited something deep within Emily. Stop! She called, raising her hands as she navigated through the crowd. "What is happening?" A tall woman at the front of the protest turned to her. "We're here for a voice. They're shutting down our community center where we gather, where we heal." Emily's blood ran cold. They were shutting it down. All the conversations, the shared stories, everything they had just begun to build was at risk. The gravity of it all almost felt surreal. The council member, who had followed closely, stepped forward. "What is the reason for this?" they demanded, voice raised above the tumult, trying to exert their authority in a moment of clarity. "You know the reason," a young man shouted back. "The city isn't listening. They're ignoring us while we struggle. We're tired of being pushed aside. Enough of this." The council member snapped, their face back to its original mask of authority. "Protests won't solve your problems." As the tension in the air thickened, Emily felt the fear and anger surge through her. Everyone was reaching for something, anything to make their voices heard, and yet here stood a person who needed to be convinced that their grievances mattered. It was a paradox that left her reeling. "Wait. Listen," she cried, stepping into the line of sight of the crowd, with the council member still standing beside her. "We just want to connect, to make change." But the protests didn't halt, cries for change ignited each time she spoke. Heart pounding, she realized it was more than a gathering. It was a movement, and she was at the heart of it. "We need a plan," Jessica shouted from the back, raising her voice to cut through the clamor. "Show them that this community matters." The crowd cheered, caught up in the momentum. The realization hit Emily like a bolt of electricity. They were ready to fight for their community together. "Emily, what do we do?" Jessica asked, her eyes wide with hope and worry, the council member glancing between them, uncertain. As Emily stood there, thoughts spinning, there came another crash, but it wasn't from outside. It was the sound of something breaking inside her. A revelation struck. Their voices had to align, their struggles were one and the same. "We'll gather our stories," she shouted, adrenaline pumping. "We'll show them who we are." Just then, an enormous crash echoed again, this time from down the street. A glass storefront shattered, and cries erupted anew. A new tension filled the air. What had been pockets of individual grievances were now clashing against a larger force of chaos. Would they retaliate, or could they turn this moment into a strength? Emily couldn't look away from the chaos. Did they still believe in the conversation that had brought them together? Was hope truly alive in the face of all this? As uncertainty loomed, a sudden thought dawned in her mind: they needed more than dreams, they needed a strategy to harness their raw emotion. What would they do now, and could they turn this uproar into something meaningful? Emily stood at the forefront of the crowd, her heart racing as chaos enveloped them, flaring up like a wildfire. Shouts surged around her, hot and raw. She felt like a conductor, seeking harmony amid dissonance. She knew the moment called for more than noise, they needed direction, purpose. "Listen up," she shouted, her voice rising over the cacophony until it broke through the chaos like a beacon. "We're stronger together, but we need a plan. We can't let anger consume us, we need to channel it." The crowd hesitated, the wild energy momentarily stilled by her unwavering tone. Jessica, standing close by, looked at Emily with a mix of admiration and anticipation. "Emily's right," she added, stepping beside her. "We have stories that need to be heard. Together, we can turn this pain into power." Emily nodded, emboldened by Jessica's support. "We show them who we really are: families, friends, neighbors. Let us collect our stories, our struggles, and share them where they matter the most." A wave of agreement rippled through the crowd, sparks igniting in their eyes. She caught sight of Mr. Harris, brilliant yet bittersweet, and her heart swelled. "We can create a community scrapbook, like a visual testament to our journeys. Photographs, letters, testimonies, let us gather them and present them to the council as our testimony. This is about making our voices count." Excitement cascaded through the crowd, and one by one, people began to dig into their pockets, pulling out crumpled paper, old photographs, even art drawn by their children. "I have something." A woman began to shout, her voice breaking with emotion. "This is my son, last week he went to bed hungry. I want them to see how that looks." Soon, voices intertwined in urgency, each person fueled by an unyielding desire to be heard. Emily's heart soared, each tale woven into a tapestry that sparkled with tenderness. A collective force of shared humanity surged through them, dissolving the divisions that had held them captive for too long. As arms reached out, joining hands, the energies shifted, turning from confrontation towards solidarity. They proposed dates to gather, places to meet, whole community events celebrating their unity and shared purposes. They were transformed not just a collection of individuals, but a living entity. The council member, watching from the sidelines, noticed the shift, their brows furrowed but intrigued. Emily could see uncertainty swirling in their eyes, the sharpness softening. With hope blossoming in her chest, she stepped closer, determination running along her veins. "You see, this isn't just noise, these are our lives we're sharing. We can be advocates for change, not just for ourselves but for our whole community." With every voice that rose, the council member stepped back, as if understanding the depth of their resolve. "Maybe you're right," they murmured, looking at the sea of heartfelt stares before them. "I see now that there's power here, more than I realized. We just need you to show us what you can do." Cheers erupted again. Emily's heart raced, hope dancing in her chest. Was this what they needed? The first flickers of understanding, as protesters began to chant for solidarity, Emily raised her hands, calling for calm once more. "We'll gather our voices, we'll share them. Then together, we'll negotiate." Each heartbeat echoed through the crowd, resonant with unity. Days ticked by, transforming their chaos into a movement fueled by passion, laughter, and the resilient spirit of Crestwood. They turned the stories into art, weaving everything together, creating exhibits at the community center. The adorned walls displayed their trials and victories, each face, each voice representing a thread in the larger narrative of their lives. Finally, the day came when they would present their community artwork to the city council. Emily stood at the forefront, hand in hand with Jessica, both beaming with the light of newfound connection, flanked by members of the community. As they stepped into that council room, their spirits were high. Emily turned to her neighbors, their faces glowing with pride and determination. "No matter what happens today, we are no longer invisible. We stand united, as voices of change." When the doors opened, she felt the spark vibrating through the air, an energy fueled by love, cooperation, and hope. Together, they were building a movement that could break the chains of silence and bring forth a future intertwined with dignity, respect, and unity. As they began sharing their piece of art, every heartbeat resonated in the room, and Emily couldn't help but smile, knowing they were finally lifting each other up. The fight was tough, but they had each other, and together they would navigate whatever came next. So now, are you ready to join this journey? Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories, leave a like now to feed the algorithm, comment below your reactions and feelings about this transformation, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful change unfold. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. You need to subscribe now.